There was a lot of stuff learned with the wind tunnel today. Particularly the new sock fabrics seem to be big savings. One of the biggest savings we found. I'm happy that the new fabric for the suit is going to be faster too. And then testing all 13 of those helmets was pretty eye-opening too. I mean, as you said, I was on the slowest helmet, so clearly that needed to change. A lot of knowledge gained in a 8-hour period.
We'll just test the cargo base layer, which is effectively a standard base layer, but you have a pocket on the front that can take a sort of 500 to 750 ml bottle. So we put a 650 ml bottle in it and tested from 25k an hour to 40k an hour. So yeah, even at 25k an hour, you're saving a little over 1 watt, and then you go up to 40k an hour. You're saving 5.5 watts with that bottle stuffed down the front. So if you're doing a really long race and you're looking to carry as much fluid as possible, you've got 2 big bottles already stuffed in the bike. Cargo base layer with a bottle down it's going to save you a pretty substantial amount.
Look at that.
And then all of a sudden.
Yeah. That's what happens when you only shave your legs for aero purposes.
So started off with your current race setup, which would have been our gravel suit and current aero socks. The biggest saving of the day we found was swapping to the new One socks in terms of product. So that saved you 3 watts at 35k an hour. When you go to 40k an hour, saving you a little over 3 watts. What was quite interesting with you is sort of across the speed range from 25 to 50, you still saved like minimum of 2 watts there. Whereas in previous testing we've seen with people, the newer socks at 25 and 30 could be a little bit slower, but then they start to way outperform the newer socks once we get to higher road race TT speeds, sort of being 45 plus. But yeah, interesting to see on you, there's no speed at which swapping to the new ones wouldn't be a beneficial choice. There are a few things we tested. So there's a prototype new torso fabric that we can put onto your gravel suit. Swapping to that, which is also what we use on our newer TT suits. If we make that swap, you found a little over 2 watts saving at 35k an hour, and that was 4 watts saving at 40. Okay. So small but not insignificant gains from making that choice. One of the interesting things we found was when you're using the gravel suit with a reservoir in the back, having your head slightly higher when you're in a sort of aero tuck position actually provided a better result than trying to shrug it down. Again, as you would expect, that's because you've got the reservoir on your back, so having your head higher again sort of smooths the transition into the reservoir. But again, also probably a benefit when you're thinking about 7, 8, 9 hour long races. Not having to hang your head super low is probably going to end up being more comfortable in the long run.
Comfortable, and the other thing that I'll say too about the low head position for gravel is that, you know, as any TT rider can attest to, your vision is quite impaired when your head is that low, and that's a really bad thing in gravel because you're hitting a lot of potholes and rocks, and you can't really be in that position when you're riding on gravel because you're just constantly hitting things and you need to not be hitting certain things. So
it's not sort of
upright head position it's not only preferable, it's kind of necessary for gravel.
You need to pick your race line, unlike tarmac where you're fairly confident, sort of unless there's a gaping pothole,
Yeah.
the line is relatively straightforward. Also did quite a lot of helmet testing for you, so slightly disappointing to know of all the helmets we tested today, including some longer mid-tail TT helmets, your helmet choice right now is the slowest one we found. So swapping to the Met Manta would save you a little over 6 watts,
Okay.
which is pretty good.
Yeah.
We tested 13 helmets,
Oh wow. Okay. It's a lot.
including a couple of short tail TT helmets just to see how they would work. So the Met TT helmet actually performed pretty well as well, even considering we're testing in a sort of fairly upright position, which those helmets are not designed for. It still provided one of the better results.
Okay. But the not better than the
Not better than the Met Manta, which is specifically designed for road racing. There's a lot of, especially in time trialing, you see people sizing up on helmets to shroud their shoulders better. That doesn't seem to be the case for you in an upright gravel position, because the swap from a medium Met Manta to a large Met Manta actually cost you 3.5 watts.
yeah.
So yeah.
I don't think that's that surprising, because in that position my head is not blocking my shoulders. In fact, if anything, it's just adding more area.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In total, when we're looking at the performance that we found today in an upright sort of longer endurance position, it's a little over 12 watts that we found. It's always interesting to put it into perspective, to think about, we found over 12 watts today from 8 hours that then is going to go on with you for seasons. You think how hard you have to work to put 12 watts onto the power output that you could sustain for an entire unbound race. Like that's a lot of work, and we can find the savings that are equivalent to that in 8 hours.